why it might be time for the Browns to consider trading Myles Garrett, the guy who just had 5 sacks of your quarterback on Sunday at Gillette Stadium. Back here with Phil and Bert. Bert, do you think the Browns would do it? Garrett seemed pretty ticked when they took him out of the game, though, and they lost. Like, he clearly is very invested in this team and wants to win. You could see it in him on the sidelines Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously everybody knows the history here and what happened in the offseason last year where he said he was never going to play there again, and then they put $40 million a year in front of him. He takes it. So this isn't about what he wants. Like, I think he sort of forfeited the right because once he took the money. But I just look at where the Browns are right now. They've got an impressive rookie class with Mason Graham and Carson Schlesinger and Quinshon Judkins and Harold Fannin. They traded the second overall pick with the admission we need to get younger in a lot of different areas after not having first-round picks for 3 years because of the Deshaun Watson trade. And they already have Jacksonville's first-round pick next year. I think they get 2 first-round picks and then some for Myles Garrett if they trade him. The opportunity to have 5 first-round picks over the next 2 years, I think it's a great opportunity that's in front of them. And even if they struck, like the Patriots struck on Drake May, we're talking about the Patriots taking this huge step forward in Drake May's second year. That would be 2027. Myles Garrett turns 32 in 2027. That's how old Von Miller was when he was traded from the Broncos to the Rams. That's how old J.J. Watt was when the Texans cut him. So you're talking about like now probably being maybe the final window that you've got to get top value for him if you are going to move him. And I just think the timeline of the team's rebuild and his prime don't match up.
So maybe they should do it. They probably won't do it because they've committed so much money to him and it's already a sunk cost to some degree. The question to me would be, would the Patriots ever be interested in taking a huge swing like this one?
That's the next question for you on my rundown.
I really don't think so. You know, this would probably require a move similar to this one, would require multiple first-round picks. And as much as I like being aggressive in a year where you are the second team in the conference and Joe Burrow's banged up and Lamar Jackson's banged up and it feels like the window is open in a way that we didn't think it would be open before the season began, multiple first-round picks is too much for this Patriots team. They need to hit on those early picks these next several years so that they have a young core of talent to grow with Drake May.
What about guys like Max Crosby or Travion Henderson? Are those guys, Trey Hendrickson, are those guys more apt, easier to get, less to give up?
Well, it sounds like the Raiders aren't going to be dealing Max Crosby, and Hendrickson just got injured. So I don't know what that will do. I don't know how serious that is or what that will do for his trade market. Those would be moves that I would be interested in to some degree if I'm the Patriots. I feel like especially on the edge, they have some depth issues. It's been Harold Landry and Kayvon Chason, and after that, as we just saw Keon White being a healthy scratch and now traded, they just don't have a lot of dependable depth there at that critical position, Bert. And they've had a hard time at times getting after quarterbacks. So to me, those moves would be enticing. I just don't know if they're the right moves for this team.
Crosby, I would think about because he's 27, and like, so that would be somebody. And the only guys I would consider at that level, if I were the Patriots, are guys that are going to help you now, but also help you for the next 3 or 4 years. Because I think you do have a window where you can keep building and be even better than you are this year, next year, the year after that. And I think that's what you should continue building towards, especially because you're older in some spots on your roster now. So if Crosby were to come available, that would be one that I would think about. I wouldn't do Hendrickson. He's 31. You don't know how much of his prime he's got left. The Bengals were also asking over the summer for a second-round pick plus a player. I know for Indianapolis it was Grover Stewart, who's a really good player that they were asking for. So you'd be talking about a high-end player, a high draft pick for a guy whose contract is up after the year, and a guy who may not be the same player a year from now. So I as good as Trey Hendrickson is, that's one I wouldn't do.
All right, Phil, I know this is a name that you like. If the Patriots want help on the edge, but to Bert's point, they want someone who's younger, they can have around a lot longer. How about the Giants' Kayvon Thibodeaux? NFL insider Jordan Schultz is reporting the 24-year-old is a name to watch on the trade front. What would it cost, Phil, for them to pry the former top 5 pick away from New York? And is this a deal that you would be willing to make, even if it was a costly one?
Yeah, well, so this guy's 25 years old, and he's got all kinds of physical skill that I think would play especially in Mike Vrabel's defense, where they're all about being aggressive and getting up the field and playing a violent style. The trade compensation would be interesting for me to see what it would be. He does have 1 year left on his deal after this season. It's that 5th-year option that the Giants have picked up. It's about $14 million, which in today's game, That's a pretty good bargain for a premier pass rusher, which I think this guy is. Sometimes the sack numbers have been there, sometimes they haven't early in his career, but he has all kinds of talent. He's being used in sort of a three-man rotation right now. They've got a ton of depth there. The Giants actually, Bert, traded for Brian Burns, who's on their roster now. It was a second and a handful of other later picks. I wonder if that's what it might cost for Thibodeaux, or if the Giants would be holding out for a first rounder for him.
And Burns is a much better player than Thibodeaux.
And he was better at this point in his career than Thibodeaux is right now.
Right. So I think, maybe you'd be talking about a day 2 pick and something else. You're going to have inside information on him. And I don't know what sort of culture fit he would be here. That would be the one question. There were questions about his personality coming out. You also, again, you have got the insight. Ryan Cowden was there.
Right.
So Ryan Cowden has insight on him. Shane Bowen is as close to Mike Vrabel as any coach in the NFL. Shane Bowen was Mike Vrabel's defensive coordinator. He's the Giants' defensive coordinator, so he's working with him now. So there are all kinds of connections that would make you think the Patriots would be able to leverage really good information. And so my question would be whether or not the culture fits there. I think the talent is something they would want to work with.
It's a fair question. They have, Vrabel in Tennessee took a few risks on quote-unquote culture question marks
Isaiah Wilson
in the draft specifically. So maybe his talent is so great that they'd be willing to roll the dice here.
All right. Well, the Patriots offense has been humming, but that doesn't mean they couldn't get some reinforcements at the trade deadline as well. The Ringer's Shil Kapadia had this interesting suggestion. He said the Patriots trading for wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. is a possibility. After a stellar rookie season, he struggled in a new offense this year. He proposed the Patriots sending a second-round pick to Jacksonville for the speedy, deep ball threat. Is this too redundant with Kayvon Booty? Is this a move, though, that would be worth making to shore up some depth at wide receiver?
I would say that this is a move that would help them a great deal. I think his skill set matches up with the quarterback's skill set tremendously in terms of the way Drake May's been throwing the deep ball and what Brian Thomas brings to the field as somebody who is one of these long, angular, true X receivers who can make plays deep down the field. I do wonder, and this gets back to culture, it gets back to really more the makeup of your locker room and how that thing is constituted right now. It seems to be going pretty well. And guys have slotted into their roles, whether it's Kayvon Booty or Matt Collins, certainly Stephon Diggs, even Pop Douglas, who doesn't play as much as maybe we thought, but has a real role on this team and has made some big plays the last couple of weeks. I just wonder, Bert, do you make this move and maybe upset the apple cart? Because it would take snaps away from somebody like Kayvon Booty. It would take snaps away probably from Matt Collins. These guys do have big personalities. That's just how wide receiver rooms work. Would you be willing to do this and add that level of talent, even if it sort of shakes up that room in a way that maybe you wouldn't love to do?
Let me just get this out there first. From a talent perspective, if I was Mike Vrabel, I would pick him up from the airport if this deal were on the table, right? I think that, this is the sort of move that you would want to make. He's ultra talented. There were some injury concerns coming out. He had issues with both of his shoulders, and there is the culture fit thing. And I think you do have to consider how hard it was to get the receiver room right. You know what I'm saying, Phil? That receiver room was rotten last year. It was a bad environment for a number of different reasons, and they have found a way to turn that thing on a dime with Todd Downing as the receivers coach, and with all the guys that they have in that room. Steph Diggs has been a really good leader, believe it or not, in that room. I think it's a fair question how they would be able to absorb a talent like that. But at that position, you're always dealing with different guys. So this is one where I might want to take a dice roll, just because I think the guy's got the ability to be a true number one. There ain't 32 number one receivers in the NFL. There's probably 15, if that, and you don't have one on your roster right now.